All right. Well, first of all, welcome. Let me get a sound check because I've had some computer trouble. Somebody give me a thumbs up or a yes, you can hear me in the chat there. And I'll know that we're okay. But welcome to the June 28th, 2026 edition of Speaking of Zane. Carl says it's good. Where our mission here is to keep his memory alive by speaking his name, hence the name Speaking of Zane. This is our 336th edition of Speaking of Zane. We haven't had one since, I think, June 7th, maybe, something like that. We had Father's Day, then I was out of town last week, and here we are now. So we'll see if we can catch everybody up with what's going on in our world and the Speaking of Zane world. And hopefully everybody is doing well. We've got Lori in there. Lori's downstairs with our granddaughter, Carson. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys remember, any of you guys remember what it was like to have a 6-year-old in the house, a 6-year-old girl, a very needy and lovable 6-year-old girl. She is a handful. Whoops, let me get the lighting right here. Sorry about that. She is with us for a few weeks. She was with us for a week. She'll be with us. She was with us a week, with us last week, with us yet another week. If you remember, our son Jackson, who's an Air Force vet, got a job with Endeavor, which is a Delta regional. Speak of the devil. There she is right there, Carson Sky. That is the daughter of Jackson and Caitlin, and she is extra. And so there she goes. No, here she is back again. She's tumbling. She's dancing. Okay. She'll probably go back downstairs with her Grammy. But anyway, her father, Jackson, it's downstairs, sweetheart, got a job with Endeavor, which is a Delta regional. as a flight dispatcher, which he went to school for. And they had to move to Minneapolis, so they live in Minneapolis now for the last few months. And Carson came down to spend a few weeks with us while they do a little traveling. And anyway, so she's here with us now, and she is very busy, and she cannot be busy by herself. You have to be busy with her. So Lori and I have to tag team in order to give each other a break. Now, Lori had her all of last week while I was out of town, so God bless her for that. But anyway, okay, Carson, you can go back and see you, Grammy. Okay, love you. Bye, Scram. So anyway, she's here, and so it's a very okay, very busy around here, as you can see. Oh my goodness, Lori took her to the pool today. We have a pool in the neighborhood. Well, we have I don't know 3 or 4 pools in the neighborhood, but one very close to us, about half a mile away. So she took her there and spent several hours so I could get caught up on a few things here at the house. But she's definitely a busybody. Well, let's see who else we have in here. Jim Miller's in here, Carl's in here, Ken's in here, and my cousin Toby's in here. Tough loss for the Braves today, Tobe. I thought they had a chance there in the 9th, but alas, they did not win. I think they are still in first place, but they've lost a lot of ground over the Phillies. I think there were as much as 9.5 or 10 games up on the Phillies. Now they're only 3.5 games up. 3 or 3.5, I don't remember, on the Phillies, but 49 and 33. It's still good baseball this year. But I'm enjoying it. I watched most of the games. Well, I tell you what, it's been a busy sports season with the NBA, with the World Cup, and we had College World Series, hockey. I watched the Travelers golf tourney today. Hovland and Scheffler just tied, and I think they'll have a playoff tomorrow. It's just lots wall-to-wall sports if you're a sports person. But I've had to do some screen and picture kind of stuff to get it all in. But anyway, first world problems we have. We're very blessed in this country for sure. All right, let's see who else is in there. I don't see Daryl in there. Daryl should be joining us. Let me tell you a little story about Daryl. Since we were last together, Daryl had to go to the hospital. He's an 80-year-old man, and but he had some issues there, which put him in the hospital for a few days, and then he got out. And fortunately, he got out in time to come and see me at my company's headquarters, which is near St. Louis. And I was hosting, or I guess emceeing, you could say, an event in our theater. And I thought he might like to get out of the house, and he came out and spent a couple hours there. If you remember, when Lori and I were there, I guess about a month ago, when I had a 4-star general there speaking to us for Memorial Day, Daryl came out then as well, so he's getting quite familiar with my corporate headquarters there in the St. Louis area. We're actually not in St. Louis. We're in a little town called Maryland Heights, which is very close to the airport. Very convenient. Maryland Heights, it's called. Daryl lives in Florissant, so he's not very far away. So it was good to see him. Glad he's doing better. And I hope he joined us tonight, and maybe put a few words in the chat there about his experience. I gave him a little shout out during the ceremony. Actually, both times now that I've had him there, but he'll tell you about that. Okay, I'm actually home for 2 glorious weeks. Can you believe it? 2 weeks is about the longest I've been home in any stretch this year since I started back traveling again. So I'm home for 2 weeks. I got to get caught up on a few things. need to get my truck in the shop. I'm having trouble with the emissions. Do you guys have? We have in the Atlanta metro. You have to pass emissions. My car's 20 years old, and the catalytic converter is acting up, and I get a code and won't pass emissions, so I got to get it into a muffler shop or something. But anyway, I might try to do that over the next couple of weeks. But we're getting very, very, very close. Actually, 2 weeks home, and then the next week I'm back in St. Louis for most of that week, and then back home, and then it'll be about time for us to go to Detroit or the Detroit Metro in Michigan for the Running to Honor 5K, which we've talked about for years now. We participated in it virtually for quite some time, and even carried that over. I did to the UK and to Amsterdam, and had some of my colleagues participate. And I'll be doing the same thing again this year. The difference this year is it's the 10th anniversary of Zane's passing, so we're taking the opportunity to actually go to the event in person. And we've got an Airbnb, and all the kids will be there with us. And Zane's son will be there with us, and some of his Air Force buddies will be there with us. And I'm picking up all the race gear to take with me to London for August, the first and second week of August. I'll be over there doing the race again over there. But we're excited to get up there and actually meet Aaron in person. And let's see, who else are we going to see? Will and Rachel Merrick and Katie and God, who else will help me? Well, we don't know all yet, but we're going to have a good time up there, and really exciting to take the trip. Thought about flying, but I think we're going to drive. I think we're going to drive because I need to bring all those race jerseys and finishers medals and all that stuff back to take with me to London. Plus, I need a road trip. I haven't been out on the open road in a little while. Lori and I went up to Ohio last year, went through Kentucky. That was fun. So this will be pretty much the same route up through Ohio, and I'm looking forward to that. Coming up toward the end of July, so we're getting pretty close, within a month now of doing that. And then there's Daryl. Hey, Daryl, I was telling everybody about you getting very familiar with my corporate headquarters there and coming out and joining us again in the big amphitheater auditorium there. And I'm glad you're able to come. Always enjoy seeing you. Hope you had a good time. I know I'm not the most eloquent host there, and I think I'm a lot funnier than I am, but it's a lot of fun for me to do that for sure, and I'm glad you were able to come out there. Okay, well, let's see. So Daryl, if you want to tell anybody in the chat how I did or how well I didn't do, you're more than welcome. But good to have you there, and I can't wait to have you back again. I don't know when that will be, but I'm sure you'll get a chance to come out there again sometime soon. Well, so we'll do that race honoring the fallen to include Zane this year, and I know that Aaron's got some special things planned for Zane, the 10th anniversary of Zane's passing specifically, and challenge coin I mentioned. I know that some of the proceeds are going to a particular place. I'll announce at some point that holds a special place to Lori and I in Zane's name. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll try to capture some video while we're there, and a lot of pictures and things like that. And then when we get back, as soon as we get back, I've got to go to London that very next week for 2 weeks, do the race again over there, and then home for a week or so. And then let me look at my calendar because all this stuff is related. Uh, yeah, so I'll be back from London and Amsterdam, and then that next week we'll be going to Omaha. So Omaha is where I'm going to attempt to walk 50 miles with a rucksack. Um, I have been training, but that's actually on August the 22nd, 23rd. So we're thinking about driving there too, or at least I am. I know it's a long way, um, but I got to take a camp chair. I got to take another bag for the race, and my rucksack, and all this stuff. So I'm thinking about driving up there as well. And Lori doesn't know this yet because it's not for certain, but I've been invited with another colleague of mine at work to go to a veterans event in Sandusky, Ohio, the Wednesday before the walk on Saturday. So I'm trying to figure out how logistically how I'm going to make all that work. Um, but we've got a little time to make that happen. Okay, Lori says she's not driving to Omaha; she's going to fly. Okay. Um, we'll see how things go there. I may fly too, but I have to take all my stuff with me. We'll see. All right. Let's see. Let's all of that here. Okay. Oh, I heard. I don't know if David's on here tonight. David Surface, a friend of mine from our days in Savannah. Now he now lives down in Florida. Former Army Ranger, retired Army, and but he was telling me yesterday on Facebook. He said that he was just in Columbus this past week with a bunch of Rangers, and he attended 3 suicide awareness seminars. And he said he even talked about Zane. He didn't know Zane. He knows me. He knows of speaking of Zane. But how about that? He was using speaking of Zane as an example, using Zane as an example there. I don't know all the details, but I thought that was nice of David to be thinking of Zane and sharing his story and letting me know that. So appreciate that, David. All right. Well, let's see. We are in the run up to the 4th of July. And I'll tell you, my wife has a plan to make our house look like the most patriotic in the neighborhood. Not that it already isn't, but she's got some other things there. This is kind of cool because somebody in the neighborhood put out a message on the neighborhood Facebook page about the whole neighborhood rallying together and getting very patriotic and putting up flags and banners and all of that stuff. And I already see some of the bunting and flags and stuff already going up. So we'll certainly get all that done in this coming week and take some pictures for you all to share with you all. So because of the run up to the 250th birthday of America, the hat of the week is Old Glory, American flag. American flag. I know it's a subdued version, but this is a hat that one of Zane's friends gave me that he had printed or had made. And it was really to be after that green hat, like that green hat of Zane's. And he just made it with a different pattern. And it has the same saying in the back. We do bad things to bad people. So that's kind of cool. It gets a lot of catches attention when I'm out and about. But that is the hat of the week. There's my cousin Cindy. Hey, Cindy. Cindy had a birthday recently. All right. Well, how about this week in military history? Well, since we were last together, there have been some history items, military history items, pass on June the 14th. A couple things happened on June the 14th. Um, the Army's birthday on June the 14th. They are older than the country. Their birthday is June 14th, 1775. And that's also Flag Day. Flag Day is June 14th. There's my dad, Mac Marine. Hey, Dad. And fast forward, June 17th. I don't know when they were established, but June 17th happens to be the birthday of the Navy corpsmen. They call them hospital corpsmen. And they have their birthday on June 17th. I know a couple of former hospital corpsmen. In fact, one was in my academy cohort that just graduated this past week. His name is Marcus Williams down in the San Diego area. So happy birthday to all the corpsmen out there. And then very sadly, an anniversary on June the 25th. This was an event that occurred on June the 25th, 1996. And this was the day of the terrorist attack, the Khobar Towers bombing in Saudi Arabia. And many of us on this call lost a friend and fellow airman, Master Sergeant Mike Heiser. Some of us flew with him at Ellsworth. Some of us flew with him at Mildenhall and Lodges. Some of us flew with him at both. And he was actually, when he was killed, with the other, I think there was another 18 airmen killed and a couple hundred, I think, wounded. But Mike was flying special air missions, and I forget which unit, with which unit. But this happened in '96, and a lot of us had gotten out before that, so we didn't always stay in touch. So it took several years for the word to get around about Mike being involved in that, because we didn't have the internet, most people didn't have cell phones, we didn't have social media, all that stuff. But everybody eventually found out. But terrible day there when there's somebody that you know, you worked with, you flew with, you pulled alert with, all the stuff, and they're just gone in an instant. So rest in peace there, Mikey. And then fast forward to the last few days, we've had, and I bring this one up because I have some colleagues in our London office that have served. And on June the 27th in the UK is Armed Forces Day. Now, let me tell you something. The Brits, they don't really revere their service members or veterans quite like we do. Now, I'm generalizing, but I will say generally they don't. And my colleagues over there tell me that. That's why they're so excited when I come over and we do the run and all of that. But they just don't. But the 27th, which was yesterday, was UK Armed Forces Day. Also, yesterday was National PTSD Day. National PTSD Day. We have a lot of days. We have all kind of days, I guess, in this country, but that one stood out to me. And then today was the anniversary, June 28th, 2005, I think it was, of Operation Red Wings. You guys may recall from the book and the movie Lone Survivor, Marcus Luttrell. So it was a group of Navy SEALs, 4 of them that were on this mission. They were getting overrun, and a group of Army Night Stalker aviators with some SEALs on board, came to rescue and extract them. And the helicopter was shot down with an RPG. 3 of the SEALs that were there were killed, so Marcus Luttrell was the lone survivor. All right. Well, we normally do Veteran Cemetery Challenge. I don't have everybody's numbers there. I know it's my fault because it's been a couple of weeks there, but for those that may be new or tuning in to the recording, this group has gotten sort of into the habit of visiting national cemeteries where our heroes rest, and then we catalog those. And over the years, we have made over 1,600 of those visits to more than 200 different locations across the world. And probably will always continue to do that, especially since we have a son who rests in one. We have friends now who rest in them. And they're certainly special places, sacred places for sure. And that's why we share with each other. We've visited one. And like Lori says in the chat there, we will be visiting Zane this week, at least once. Okay. And we do the other thing that we've sort of done as a team over the years is the Thank a Vet Challenge. And it doesn't have to be thanking a vet. It could just be acknowledging a vet or talking to a vet at the grocery store or something. And over the years, we've done that over 4,000 times now. So 4,000 times. In fact, 4,024 that I counted. People have heard from someone in this relatively small group, I appreciate you serving, or thank you for your service, or what did you do in the military, or thank you for serving, whatever the case may be. So that's a good thing in my book. So if you have any of those throughout the course of the week, either a cemetery visit or a veteran encounter, let me know that and we'll start tracking again and get those numbers up. I had at least 10 this week. There are 4 of them in this current group of young professionals that were part of my program over the last year. We graduated this week, 4 of them. And Derek will tell you, we actually acknowledged them during the graduation ceremony, which is the first time I've done that, but I thought it was appropriate. And then I was able to connect with or say hello to or thank another 6 of them, another 6 veterans while I was there in town in St. Louis. All right, let's see what we got here in the chat. Steve says that Mike flew VIPs out of Ramstein after he left Mildenhall. He had just assumed the role of ops superintendent for the rescue unit at Patrick. That's right. And took an early rotation to Bahrain to see how things worked. Yeah, I remember, I think it's Roy Cupper? Somebody was down at Patrick, or somebody was at Maxwell, maybe at like Senior NCO Academy or something, and saw the tribute to Mike and the others. And that's the first time they had heard that Mike was one of the victims. Let's see, Steve said he had 4 thank yous this week. I'm going to add those right now, Steve. Oh, Carl, you guys were on the road, huh? Carl had Alabama Vet and Spanish Fort. How about that? I might have been to that one. Give me a little more about that one. Is that down near Mobile? I think it is. Lori and I went to that one. A little bit older, and let me get back up to my So we're going to say Carl had Alabama vets. East side of the bay, yeah. Yeah. Lori and I visited on one of our trips through there. Ken went to Cape Canaveral. That's right, Ken, because he visited George Wellman. Steve, Carl, do you guys remember George Wellman? He's buried there at Cape Canaveral. I visited him a couple times. Steve's been there. Ken's been there a couple times. All right, I'm going to get Ken down here. And I know that Amy and her sister made a visit somewhere recently, and I just don't remember where it was. And I know Daryl has had, since we were last together, quite a few. So I'll total all these up. Once I look back and get Amy's, I'll add them all up there. Yeah, George was a solid guy. One of the hardest workers, head down, hard worker that I've ever known. I felt fortunate to correspond with him a few times in the weeks before his death through his wife, Jane. She had to do the email for him. And then, of course, I was able to attend his funeral there in Florida. But he was a good dude. Remember him fondly. Okay, well, I'll get all these. Thanks for sharing those visits and thank yous with me. I'll get everything totaled up. See if I can get us back on track and add all those up. Organizations, I mentioned Running to Honor. I mentioned the 50-mile march. My Warriors Place. Kelly's doing some cool things down there. They've opened the shooting range down there at the first Punta Gorda property. So they had an outing there. She's doing some nice posts on Facebook to share. She did some walkthroughs of one of the units at the new location where Lori and I have stayed. She just got back from a cruise somewhere in Europe. And there you go. We did have tragedy since we were last together with the B-52 crash. You guys remember hearing about the B-52 crash just a couple of weeks ago. We lost Colonel Gregory Watson, Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, retired Lieutenant Colonel Miley Middleton, Major Alexander Davis, Major Robert D., Major Brad Novi, Jeremy Smith, and Christopher Richer. So terrible tragedy there. Anytime I get sick anytime a plane crashes, and to lose 8 like that on a mission is terrible. So keep your thoughts and prayer. Keep their families in your thoughts and prayers there. Okay. Well, anything in the chat there, Lori? I think that'll do us for tonight. I'm so glad to get on and catch up. Glad to be in town, as I mentioned, for a couple of weeks. 4th of July is Saturday, so we should be able to have a Speaking of Zane next Sunday, and at least get a couple of Speaking of Zanes in before the travel begins. And oh yeah, that's right, Dad. I had written that down as well. There's a Marine. I forget which ship he was on, but they were operating down off the coast of Southern California, and they say they've turned it. It's turned from a search and rescue to a recovery mission. I don't know how they decide that, but they hadn't released the Marine's name yet. pending notification of his family. It's just a tragedy. Yeah, I had that in my notes. I appreciate you reminding me of that. But terrible. We always talk about, combat is by definition dangerous, but so is training for it. You train like you fight, and sometimes the consequences are there. But all right, well, we appreciate everybody joining tonight. Have a great week. Make it count. God bless America. Happy 250th birthday to the greatest nation. I don't care what anybody says, the greatest nation ever. People aren't fleeing here. People are flocking to come here. And it's obvious why. So God bless America. I'll never apologize for that. And have a great week. We'll look forward to seeing everybody next weekend. Once again, speaking of Zane.